Besides including the valuable Toastmasters International information on being an effective mentor, it has some great resources for you to use as you progress through your mentoring with your mentee. The purpose of this speech is to share some aspect of the experience of mentoring. I hope you come away with the desire to become a mentor yourself. Here I am with mentoring, not a one-way street. Many years ago, I had a boss who asked me to teach a seminar to my colleagues about a particular subject in the next month. I said, but I don't know anything about this subject. He replied, you will next month. Fellow Toastmasters and welcome guest, needless to say, I learned a lot from that experience. Perhaps more than my colleagues. I think that teaching, coaching, mentoring, it's rarely a one-way street. I believe you get as good as you give. My experience as a Toastmasters mentor was no exception. I have 3 things that I'd like to tell you about tonight that I learned while being a mentor. 1, I don't know everything. 2, I know something. And 3, why it's so valuable, why it's worthwhile to be a mentor. There's a movie called Dirty Harry. It's a Clint Eastwood movie. Maybe you know it, for better or worse. But there's a scene in there where Clint, as Harry, is looking at his corrupt boss's car. And of course, the camera comes tight on his face, and he says, a man's got to know his limitations. Now, you may think that's antithetical to what we do in Toastmasters, which is improving on our strengths and overcoming our weaknesses and going beyond those limitations that we set up for ourselves. But I think of that phrase as saying that we all have unique gifts and talents. Except remembering my speech. That's my talent. I'm sorry, I've just gotten right off track. So the phrase is that we all have our unique gifts and our talents. For mentoring, that might mean that I speak to my mentee. I say, if you want to learn about this, perhaps you should ask so-and-so the next time we're at a meeting, or listen to her when she speaks, or pay attention to when so-and-so speaks next time he is at our meeting. There's a thing called keeping a space for someone. And for me in mentoring, I think that means that you give your mentee room to find out, to grow and find out what their unique gifts and talents are. This is more of being a guide than being an expert. Now, I'm no speaking expert, which is becoming abundantly clear, but I am a bit of a control freak. When I step back, however, and give my mentee room, she comes up with amazing things that I would have never thought of. That shouldn't surprise me. Something else that shouldn't surprise me is how much I have absorbed from all of you. from the very first time with my own mentee experience in Toastmasters to just observing all of you with your successes and your failures, with my own successes and failures. And we do learn a lot from our failures. I actually have learned a thing or two. And those things I can pass on to my mentee. But I pass them on with a humility that I don't own them. I think it's safe to say that whether it's implicit or explicit, Toastmasters mentoring is a group effort. Now, why do I want to be a mentor? Experience as a mentee when I started out in Toastmasters. It helps the club with keeping members, and it makes me feel good to help somebody reach goals or overcome fears. Yada, yada, yada. Yes, all those things are true, but the real gift is your gifts. The great moment when my mentee blows me away, when your mentee blows you away, all of us away, the vulnerability, the humor, the surprises that come from people who are trying and succeeding or trying and failing, but then they get up and come back even stronger. Those things happen over and over again through our entire career as Toastmasters. What a joy to see somebody shine and to be able to learn something new from that every single time. That is the gift of mentoring. I am considered an expert in my field. And as an expert, I appreciate experts. I call a plumber instead of my husband when I need a plumber. But I feel that mentoring is not about being an expert. It's about knowing your limitations, but having a lot of good advice in your back pocket. It's about holding a space for someone to grow and to shine in ways that you can't even think of right now, that are unimaginable. And we all benefit from this. Do yourself a favor, and the club and the world. Consider becoming a mentor. Let's brighten this place up. Madam Toastmaster.